Okay, let's get into your reading, Gemini. I really feel very heavily that someone here has been ignoring you, not really taking you into consideration, not really doing a lot towards you, not being proactive enough towards you, not talking enough to you. And so what I'm seeing here is that there's just this lull, this silence, not a lot happening, not a lot going on, not a lot in regards to what this person is actually doing towards you right now. Drop a comment right now and say justice is served. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Okay, let's look at this situation together. Okay, one oracle card for the energy. They think about you constantly, but when it comes to taking action, that's where everything stops. And your guides led with this because it explains the entire confusion you've been feeling. This isn't someone who has forgotten about you. This is someone who thinks about you just as much as you think about them. But when it comes to actually doing something about it, when it comes to taking action, that's where you feel things are unrequited. That's where things feel like they're not very mutual. And that gap between what they feel and what they do is exactly what we're going to unpack today. And before we go into the cards, I want to address something. Some of you have a small, quiet voice right now saying maybe you're imagining all of this. Maybe the connection isn't really there. I want to address that voice directly. It is not wisdom. It's a pattern built from being let down before, trying to protect you from hoping again. Just set it aside for the length of this reading and let the cards speak. Because what's in these cards is going to confirm what part of you already knows. And that confirmation is exactly what you came here for. Okay, let's go all the way in. And before we go into the cards, I want to name something. You feel confused, genuinely confused. Because on some level you sense the connection is real, and yet nothing is actually happening from their end. And that specific confusion, not anger, not certainty, just this disorienting, unsettled confusion, is exactly what the cards are going to speak to today. The Six of Pentacles, the Nine of Wands, the Moon, the Ace of Wands, the Three of Cups, the Emperor, the Four of Pentacles, the Four of Cups, the Ace of Swords, Justice, 10 cards. And I want to spend real time with every single one because together they tell the complete story. The Six of Pentacles first. Now the Six of Pentacles is quite powerful here because it represents the fact that they do actually think about you. They genuinely do. This card confirms that their thoughts are flowing toward you. In fact, the Nine of Wands alongside it also shows that they think about you. Both of these cards together are confirming that this person is thinking about you just as much as you are thinking about them. However, when it comes to taking action, that's where you feel like things are quite unrequited. That's when you feel things are not very mutual, as though they're not doing a lot towards you. Because whilst they are thinking about you just as much as you are thinking about them, they're not doing enough. They're not taking action. They're not showing you how they feel or telling you with action how they feel. And that part feels very, very confusing. You feel genuinely just very confused because you're like, okay, we're both thinking about each other, but like they're not doing enough. And that specific feeling, the one where you know the feeling is mutual, but nothing is actually happening, is one of the most disorienting feelings there is, because it makes you question your own perception. It makes you wonder if you're imagining the connection entirely, and your guides want you to know plainly and clearly you are not. And especially with the moon here, there's a sense of it sort of being matched in one way, but a little bit mismatched in another way. You're both carrying real feeling, but the outward expression of it is completely different. What you feel internally and what they're able to show externally are two very different things right now. And the moon governs illusion, hidden depths, things beneath the surface that aren't yet visible. And what's hidden here is the true scale of what they actually feel for you. a scale far larger than their quiet, guarded behavior would ever suggest on the surface. And we also have here the Ace of Wands. Now, this is very important. They will actually take action towards you from what I'm seeing. So just because they aren't right now doesn't mean they won't. This person takes more time to think about things than you do. This person is much slower than you. Naturally, you would do things very quickly. You think about something, you think about whether you like it or not, and then you take action. However, this person thinks about things in a very different way. They like to make sure that they are ready. They like to make sure that before they take action, they are totally committed to the action they're going to take because they don't want to change their mind. The Ace of Wands is a fresh spark, new momentum forming, and that momentum is already building in them even if you can't see it yet. The way real growth always happens underground first, before it breaks through the surface where anyone else can see it. And on top of that, they've been through trauma and heartache and grief and pain in the past. So they want to make sure that they don't then trigger and sort of put all of that back onto you. They don't want to project their insecurities, their vulnerabilities, their issues from the past onto you, if that makes sense. So that's really what I'm seeing here. This person is thinking a lot more about things because of what they've been through. When it comes to taking action, they want to be 100% serious. They want to make sure they know exactly what they're doing. They want to be certain and secure before really doing more. And that's not something you did wrong. That's not a reflection of your value to them. That's someone who learned the hard way that acting from impulse on emotional things can cost you everything. And they're not willing to risk that again. Not with you. Not with something that actually matters. And here's what I want to address because I know some of you are wondering. You might be thinking to yourself, but they seem to take action very quickly in other areas of their life. They go out with their friends quickly. They make plans easily. They text their friends plenty. And then you wonder, why are they not communicating with me? And the answer is in the cards right here. Because those things are superficial. They're a little bit more materialistic. It's all very surface level. You don't have to dig too deep emotionally. You don't have to go below the surface. If a friend says, oh, let's just go here and do this and do that, they can say, okay, cool, fine, let's go. There's no emotional vulnerability required. There's no real weight to it. But with you, they have to be mature. They have to be emotionally open. They have to really take action. They have to be proactive. They have to actually do things properly. They have to come to you with that proper energy. With friends, they don't really have to do that. It's all very surface level. But with you, there's real depth involved. And real depth requires real readiness. And real readiness takes time. Real time. Not the kind you can rush or shortcut. So when you see them texting their friends easily, making plans quickly, being spontaneous and available in those surface level spaces, and you wonder why they can't bring that same energy to you, now you understand. Those things cost them nothing emotionally. This costs them everything. So when you feel like they're communicating better with everyone else than they are with you, that's actually a sign of how much this means to them. Because the things we avoid are usually the things we care about most. Avoidance is not indifference, in this reading at least. It is the opposite. And I want you to carry that with you. The next time the silence feels like you don't matter, return to this. You matter. You are the reason they are trying as hard as they are. They do think about you. They do feel a lot towards you, but they want to be 100% certain and secure. And that's why, yes, they think about you. But when it comes to taking action, they're very slow. And it's not because you don't matter enough. It's because you matter too much. And mattering too much to someone who was devastated by the last thing they cared about is terrifying. So they do think about you. They do feel a lot towards you, but they want to be 100% certain and secure. They're very slow because of it. This person has been through trauma. This person has been through a very, very difficult past from what I'm seeing. And I do feel it will come out on the cards because it does. They've been in a difficult relationship in the past. It's been very difficult. It's been very challenging. It's been quite overwhelming. And I would say here that there's been a third party involved in their past relationship from what I'm seeing. Because we do have the Three of Cups with the Emperor and also the Four of Pentacles. This combination here is really showcasing the fact that in their past relationship, there was some kind of infidelity or cheating that happened that took them completely off guard. It knocked their socks off in the worst way possible. It caught them completely off guard. And that's not nice. It doesn't sound very nice at all to be in a situation where there's been that kind of energy in their past. And I want to sit with this for a moment because it's the key to understanding everything else in this reading. When you've been betrayed by the very people and the very relationship you trusted most, something inside you changes. It doesn't break you forever, but it changes how you approach trust, how you approach vulnerability, how long you need before you can commit to anything that could potentially hurt you that badly again. The Three of Cups here is usually celebration, friendship, joy shared between people. But combined with the Emperor and the Four of Pentacles, it tells a very different story. It points to a celebration that excluded them, a betrayal happening right underneath their nose by people they genuinely trusted. The Emperor represents the structure and stability they had built, the foundation they believed in, and the Four of Pentacles shows them holding on defensively afterward, gripping tightly, afraid to let anything flow freely again. Those three cards together paint a complete picture of what they lived through. And I want to name how that kind of betrayal specifically shapes a person. When it's someone you trusted, when the structure you built your whole emotional security around collapses, it doesn't just end the relationship. It changes how you show up in every relationship that follows. It makes you slow, careful, unable to fully commit until you're absolutely certain, because the last time you were certain, you were wrong. And so now they're very scared. They don't know who to trust. There's a lot of trust issues I see here that they have built up, especially with the Four of Cups. There's this energy of rejection, feeling overwhelmed, feeling rejected, feeling dejected, not knowing who to trust, not knowing who is going to treat them well. So even though they have deep feelings for you, deep down they don't know whether they can really fully trust you. And I know that sounds kind of difficult to hear, but that's because relationships are not necessarily a security thing. People can leave at any given time if they really want to, and so that's something they think about. Words are just words at the end of the day. What if you actually do leave them? What if you reject them? What if you turn back on your words? They do get scared of you rejecting them, leaving them in the future because of what they've been through in the past. The Four of Cups shows this figure sitting with arms crossed, ignoring a cup being offered right in front of them, not because they don't want it, but because they've been burned by wanting something before. And that burn is still sitting in their chest when they think about reaching out to you, not because you put it there, but because their chest hasn't finished processing what was put there before you. And that wound, your guides want to be very clear about this, has absolutely nothing to do with how they feel about you and everything to do with what happened long before you arrived. This person has not properly healed from the pain and trauma. They've healed from the people in their past and don't ever want to be with those people again, but they haven't healed from the pain and trauma itself, from the pain that was caused onto them. That wound hasn't fully healed from what I see here. And this is important to understand because it means the hurt you felt from their silence is not actually about you. It's about a wound they're still carrying. One that activates every time they get close to doing something emotionally real with another person. You happen to walk into their life while that wound is still open. And your guides want you to feel this compassionately, not as an excuse, but as a real, honest picture of what you're actually dealing with. This isn't someone who is cold. This is someone who is healing in real time, while simultaneously trying to figure out how to reach you. And when you understand that, the silence stops feeling like rejection and starts feeling like what it actually is, a person doing the hardest internal work they've ever done. Not because it's easy, because you're worth doing it for. And that's the Ace of Swords. We've really got down to a lot of clarity and truth here. The Ace of Swords cuts through illusion and reveals exactly what happened, with no soft edges left to hide behind. But this card has also made them very emotionally unavailable. This person used to communicate their emotions. They were okay doing so. Maybe they weren't always the best at it, but they used to. And then this situation happened to them in their past relationship, and it just completely wiped them out, in the sense that they just cannot be emotionally available anymore. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to say it. They just don't know what to do. They literally cannot express themselves emotionally anymore. They're quite stern. If you bring up emotions, they will shut down. They will get triggered. They just don't know how to handle emotions, process emotions, feel emotions, talk about emotions. The Ace of Swords cut away their ability to speak freely about feeling anything at all, leaving them fluent in logic but almost wordless when it comes to the heart. And you might have noticed this in how they interact with you. They can talk about surface things. They can be fine in ordinary exchanges. But the moment anything emotional enters the conversation, you watch them go quiet, or change the subject, or suddenly become unavailable. That's not coldness. That's a person who genuinely doesn't know how to navigate emotional space anymore, because the last time they tried, it devastated them completely. And here's something specific your guides want you to understand. The fact that they shut down around emotions with you specifically is not a sign that they don't feel anything. It's the opposite. People shut down around the things that matter most, around the people who have the most capacity to hurt them. So that's what we have here. This person right now is sort of ignoring you. There is distance. There is space. There is time between you both. But justice here is very powerful. Justice basically represents the fact that things can actually get resolved in this situation. Yes, they can. Things can actually get resolved. This situation has been really difficult. It's been really overwhelming. It's been very, very frustrating. But what you need to know is that things can actually get resolved and things can actually progress. Justice holds a scale, the record being set straight. And that's what's coming here. A real balancing, a real resolution. And I want to say here, whatever you've been feeling about this person, whatever confusion and frustration and quiet hurt has built up, your guides see it. They see all of it. And this card is their direct response. And your guides want you to understand that justice doesn't just mean they reach out. It means the full weight of this situation is being measured. Every piece of distance and silence and confusion, all of it is being accounted for. And what comes back will actually address what happened, not paper over it. Address it properly. And your guides want to say something clearly here. This situation, as difficult and frustrating and overwhelming as it's been, is not permanent. What you need to know is that things can actually get resolved and things can actually progress from here. Okay, message cards, 7 of them straight from the deck. And these are important. Let's see what's really going on. First message card. Instagram message. So we have here Instagram message. There may be some interaction on your social media from what I'm seeing. They may message you. Now, this doesn't have to just be Instagram. It can be any kind of social media platform. But I feel like they will reach out, and your guides want you to be ready for this, not bracing for it, just open to it. There's going to be some contact, some communication from them towards you. This is a direct channel opening up, something you weren't necessarily expecting, but that is genuinely coming. Your guides want you to notice when it arrives. It might feel almost anticlimactic at first. A notification, something small, before you realize what it actually means and how long it took them to send it. Next message card. I love you. Okay. This person does have love towards you, real love, but they've been through a horrific past, and that love has been sitting underneath everything, underneath the silence, underneath the distance, underneath every moment you wondered if they even still thought about you. It never left. And your guides want you to hear that clearly. Love doesn't disappear because someone goes quiet, and their quiet wasn't absence of feeling. It was someone trying to figure out how to be worthy of their own feeling before bringing it to you. Next message card. Having dreams of you. They do dream about you. They do think about you. And they do very much have these very vivid feelings in regards to you. They think about you so much during the day that it spills into their sleep at night. These aren't passing thoughts. These are deep, recurring, vivid feelings that visit them even when they're not consciously trying to think about you. You carry a specific weight in their mind, something that doesn't leave when the day ends, something that shows up in the space where they have no control over what they think about. Next message card. Instagram follow. More activity on social media from what I'm seeing. Again, this is them staying close in the quiet way they know how right now. Not quite ready to say the words. Not quite ready to make the full move, but staying in your orbit, watching, noticing, present in the only way their fear currently allows. And this matters because it tells you exactly where they are, close enough to stay connected, not yet ready to close the distance properly, but definitely not gone. Next message card. I need money. A lot of their focus is also on finances right now, on being able to really work towards building and growing their financial situation. And this matters because part of what's slowing them down with you is wanting to have their own footing, wanting to show up for you from a place of stability rather than coming to you with their hands empty and their life still unsettled. This is actually an act of care toward you, even if it looks from the outside like just another barrier, just another reason to wait. They want to come to you properly. They want to offer you something real. And right now they're still building the foundation they want to stand on when they do. Next message card. I'm scared to let my guard down. We know they have a hard time being vulnerable because of what has basically happened to them. And this card names it directly. Scared. Genuinely scared. Not indifferent. Not unbothered. Scared. Scared of getting it wrong again. Scared of being hurt in the same way. Scared of you ultimately leaving the same way they were left before. And that specific fear is what's been sitting between every moment of silence, every time they almost reached out, every time they drafted a message and didn't send it, every time they looked at your profile and clicked away. This fear is the reason, not indifference. Fear. Deep, real, understandable fear from someone who was hurt badly the last time they let their guard down completely. And the last message card, please forgive me. They will ask for forgiveness. Part of that is also the justice that will get served in this situation. I do see here that they are going to come to you and want to apologize to you, which is quite powerful. A real apology. not a performance, not something rehearsed. A genuine wanting to make things right, to close the distance, to be accountable for the silence and the absence and the way they handled this. And when this apology comes, it won't be clean or perfectly worded the way apologies from someone who genuinely means it usually aren't. It might be a little clumsy because real honesty often isn't polished, but it will be genuine. And genuine is what actually changes things. Genuine is what justice looks like when it finally arrives. Okay, before the final message, your guides want you to understand 3 things practically. The first thing is this: their slowness is not rejection. I need you to really hear that. The fact that they haven't acted yet does not mean they don't feel it. The 6 of Pentacles and the 9 of Wands confirmed they think about you constantly. And the Ace of Wands confirmed action is forming. What looks like silence from the outside is someone on the inside trying to get ready enough to show up for you properly. And your guides want you to hold that, not as an excuse for the hurt, but as context for the truth. Those are 2 different things. The hurt was real, and the silence was never about your worth. The second thing, you do not need to wait indefinitely. You get to keep living your life fully while this unfolds. This reading confirms real movement is coming toward you, but your life does not pause for their timeline. You keep going, you keep growing, you keep becoming the person you were already becoming before the situation entered your life, and you let this arrive alongside your life rather than instead of it. And if by the time this reaches you, you have already moved on, that is completely valid too. This reading tells you what's coming. It does not tell you what you're obligated to accept. You get to decide what you do with it from wherever you actually are. And the third thing, the one your guides were most specific about when they do reach out, watch for consistency, not just the initial message, not just the apology. Real change shows up in small, repeated actions over time. The apology is step 1. What they do after it is what actually matters. Real change shows up in how they communicate, in whether they follow through, in whether they show up emotionally not just once, but over time. Your guides want you watching for that pattern specifically, not just the opening gesture, because this is someone who has learned to lead with words and fall short on follow-through in the past. Let the follow-through tell you what the words mean, not the other way around. And I also want to say something before we bring this home. Some of you have been carrying real hurt alongside this confusion, not just the confusion of what they're doing, but genuine hurt at being ignored by someone you know feels something for you. And I want to acknowledge that without trying to rush past it. Your guides want that acknowledged. It's valid. You're allowed to feel it completely. The fact that their silence comes from fear doesn't erase the fact that it landed on you as absence. Both things can be true. It hurt, and it was never really about your worth. And your guides want to say something about the version of you that has been navigating this. You've been carrying this confusion with more grace than you're probably giving yourself credit for. You didn't chase. You didn't beg. You stayed present without grasping. And that kind of quiet dignity, even when you were hurting, is worth naming out loud. Because sometimes the people who are waiting with the most grace are also the ones least likely to recognize that that's what they're doing. And one more thing before the final message. I want to speak to the part of you that wonders if you've been imagining the whole connection. You haven't. The cards do not support that fear at all. The 6 of Pentacles, the 9 of Wands, the Moon, the Ace of Wands, the dreams, the love. Every single card confirms real, genuine feeling on their end. Not a story you built up in your own mind. A real, mutual current that they simply haven't been able to reach across yet. Your intuition about this connection was right from the beginning. The part of you that kept sensing something real underneath the silence, that part of you was correct. Trust that. And I want to answer one more thing before we close. Why now? Why is this coming through now after all this silence? And your guides want you to understand the timing. It took this long because they genuinely weren't ready sooner. The healing, the internal shifting, the slow rebuilding of their ability to trust, that couldn't be rushed. And the delay was never about you not being enough. It was about them not yet being enough for themselves. There's a difference. And your guides want you to feel that difference clearly, because it changes everything about how you receive this. This wasn't you being overlooked. This was someone quietly, painfully trying to get themselves ready to finally be the person they want to be when they come to you. And your guides see how long you've been carrying this, how many times you checked your phone and felt that small, hollow drop. How many times you talked yourself into being okay with the silence even when you weren't fully okay with it. They see all of it, and they want you to know that waiting with that kind of grace, even unknowingly, changes the energy of what's coming back to you. Okay, final message from your guides. Just one. Let justice do its work. This is already moving toward you. Let justice do its work. That's the instruction. One instruction. Because justice confirmed this situation can actually get resolved. And the Ace of Wands confirmed real action is forming. And the dreams confirmed they carry you with them even in sleep. And the Love card confirmed what sits underneath all of it. So let justice do its work and trust that what's already in motion is already reaching you. Okay, to bring this home, they ignored you, but this is what they were hiding. And the cards showed us everything. The Oracle card confirmed they think about you constantly but freeze when it comes to taking action. Because with you, they have to be mature, emotionally open, proactive, and that's not something they take lightly given what they've been through. With friends, they can be impulsive. With you, they need to be certain, and certainty takes time when you've been hurt the way they were. The Six of Pentacles showed they think about you just as much as you think about them, just as much, weighing it constantly. The Nine of Wands showed them exhausted but still holding their ground, still watching, still not letting go. The Moon showed the matched in feeling, mismatched in expression, what's inside completely different from what shows up on the surface. The Ace of Wands showed real action forming underneath, a seed already planted even if the surface looks still. The Three of Cups, the Emperor, and the Four of Pentacles revealed the specific past betrayal, the infidelity, the third party, the thing that caught them off guard in the worst way possible, that changed everything about how they approach emotional commitment. The Four of Cups showed the trust issues and fear of rejection that followed, arms crossed against even a cup being offered directly. The Ace of Swords showed the wound that wiped out their emotional availability. They used to be different, they used to communicate, and then what happened destroyed that access in them. And Justice showed this can actually resolve, the scales can balance, the record can be properly set straight. The Six of Pentacles showed they think about you just as much as you think about them. The Nine of Wands showed them exhausted but still standing, still watching. The Moon showed the matched in feeling, mismatched in expression. The Ace of Wands showed real action forming even if it hasn't arrived yet. The Three of Cups, the Emperor, and the Four of Pentacles together showed a past betrayal, an infidelity that caught them completely off guard, that knocked their socks off and shook their ability to trust. The Four of Cups showed the trust issues and rejection fear that followed, arms crossed against a cup being offered. The Ace of Swords showed the wound that wiped out their emotional availability, leaving them stern and shut down around anything emotional even though they used to be different. And justice showed this situation can actually get resolved, the scales can balance, and the record can be set straight. The message cards showed an Instagram message coming, a direct line of contact opening up, showed real love sitting underneath all of it, love that never left even through the silence, showed them dreaming about you, vivid and recurring and real, showed quiet social media activity because they're staying close in the only way they currently can, showed their financial focus and desire to come to you from a place of stability, showed them scared to let their guard down, every unsent message, every drafted apology, every time they almost reached out and stopped. All of it was this fear, and showed a real apology coming. I do see here that they are going to come to you and want to apologize to you, and that apology is coming. One instruction: let justice do its work. This is already in motion, and it is already reaching you. Claim this, loves. Drop a comment and say justice is served, and I let justice do its work. Because every word of that is true. Save this, come back and tell me how it unfolded, because it is going to unfold. And when it does, I want to hear everything. If this resonated, please give this video a thumbs up. Drop a comment and tell me what hit hardest. And if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Take care of yourself. Bye, loves.